Good morning, folks. Happy Sunday. So we can do a little bit of cleanup, and then I'm going to take a look at some stuff that I haven't looked at in probably 20 to 25 years. It's in these manila envelopes, and it's actually pretty thick, so we'll see what secrets we uncover there. But I need to clean this area first. And I just called this episode a dive because I'm probably going to go off tangent here. Not in a bad way, just going to get involved in a bunch of different stuff. So let's straighten this chaos up, and then we can get going. It's rare that I do anything off camera, or staged. That's just dishonest. It's just too much. It's too much work. Like, oh, let's do stuff off stage to make some kind of facade or whatever. Like, nah. You guys know what's going on here. Let's see. We need to switch a couple of these colors out so they can fit in the right area. There we go. And the chairs are bitching. Hey, Ben. Got some interesting stuff here. I don't know. I just do stuff, and if it's interesting, cool. It just happens. But I got to get rid of the chaos that I created here. Still, the neatest hobby table I've seen is still my own. Some folks just really I don't know how they operate. I just don't know how they operate. I got a little bin here. It's empty. I'm going to go ahead and put all of this stuff that is basically ready to go on there. Like the bricks, that sort of thing. I've got another bin here, don't I? Probably it's unused. I thought I had two. We're going to dump these Skytrex just to tell you how many T-34s I have. This is just some of them. God, they're heavy. We got to do some snow. The problem with doing snow vehicles, as much as I want to tackle snow vehicles for the challenge, I'm going to want to do snow scenarios. That's a good way to get spread too thin. Okay. I can now use this bin for terrain stuff. So this is the transfer pieces that transfer to the dirt road, and one lone brick here. So let's put these things in here. Two sections of road like that. Third one. Fourth one, I actually don't mind if they fall in there. It's a retrievable place. I think 4 is what I have, which is plenty for the town. And I should be able to put the building bottoms in there. And get my other table back. It's consumed by stuff. This is all the floor plans of all these buildings. That's a good idea. I need to remember that. I need to put that in there inside the box. So if anything falls, it'll be inside the box. Okay, and then we have two of these sections that transfer to dirt roads. It can make more, but, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 road sections, full size. And then the minis, so you can put small variations in the curvature of them. Oh, got even more. It's kind of a mini. I like the fact that I made this shit out of nothing. Even if you bought this stuff commercial, you're gonna get killed on shipping. You know, and then you're gonna have to be like, well, I need this, I kind of need a piece, and this piece might work, instead of like, fuck it, I'll make exactly what I need. All right. That's it, right? That's all the terrain stuff we've made so far. Yeah. Well, these two, I'm gonna put them in here as well. But we're gonna have to, let's scoop the stuff that's out on these buildings first. Let's do this. So I don't fat finger stuff. Well, let's get our glasses so we can look at our tweezers. It's like playing Operation. All right. This goes into Sticklandia. I'm not gonna do that over the box. I don't think. Let's see how many more sticks we need to get rid of, so we can at least put that away. We did this building also. Well, I've been pretty happy with the photos I've taken of this stuff. Between the terrain and the way the figures are based, it's starting to look like what I had envisioned, which is always nice. Of course, these are all light colored sticks. I got a pretty good variety of rafters. We'll call them rafters. That's basically what they are. Well, shouldn't rafters actually not be square? Shut up. Go build a house. Bugger off. That's how they built them. Yes, they're supposed to be. They're supposed to not be square. These are square, and that's why the roof caved in. And it might have had something to do with the artillery that was dropped on them. Okay, so this is good to go. I think maybe if I just do something like this. That one's done. It's actually a pretty decent place to transfer it. It's not likely to go somewhere else. Why are you guys stuck in here? insolent brick. Okay, perfect. This one's done, this one's done. Well, you heard a 52 card pickup. This is 2300 brick. 2300 brick chaser. Yeah, it actually worked really well to have the 87th, 187th scale bricks and 172nd. I think the brick sizes helped. And the color just... I could be happier, but it wouldn't be reasonable. Well, that worked really well. Okay. 16,000 bricks minus 8 or 7 or however many I lost. Remember what I said? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how big of a footprint 1,600 bricks looks like. So this is our terrain bin that we have going so far, and the roads stack really freaking nice. They're thin. They're wafer thin. They literally are the thinness of wafers. And then I've got my other one that is Le Tree. And I'm not going to store these in a garage. I don't want this stuff to get... I think the humidity will make it sticky. It's not always humid out there, but it is right now. It's like it's virtual, it's not virtual, it's real swamp ass out there. Just one of those nights that like the humidity is probably close to 90 degrees outside, and it's probably in the 80s, or whatever the hell you guys call it in centigrade. Make believe Napoleonic temperatures. All right, let's get rid of this because this is just chaos for the eyes. And let's move that the hell out of here. All right. Pick this up from time to time, otherwise I find it hard I get distracted. I'm not a fan of chaos. Brick file. We'll come across another couple little bricks. We'll put them on there. All right. Pennies. We need a penny place. So this will just be our little catch-all. Oh, I know one thing we got to do. We need to finish our Normandy farmhouse, because I got all the other buildings done for this town, or that's going to represent this town. I'm going to use the Normandy farmhouse as this barn. Let me show you this so we can see where we are on it. Is the other side clearer than this? No, it's worse. Okay. I don't like seeing this chaos, and even though it's just a little bit. So here's the scenario that we're building towards. We got all the trees we could possibly want. I'm not doing a church, and there's these rubble piles, which I'm going to use a building for. So I've got the roadways for this. This looks to be, like a row house or something like that. Between the 6 buildings that I can, we can build some built-up areas in here. That's not really an issue. They're just to delineate pretty much the objective, the German force objective, which is this town, and that's it. So, they don't have any infantry unless the tanks brew up and the crews actually bail out. So the fact that it is or isn't a church doesn't really matter. This is supposedly a historical battle, but if you go and look at the actual town of Longevet, there's a church there, so you could actually see exactly what that church looks like. But the footprint of the roads and stuff doesn't necessarily match. So if you're going to be vague about this is the town, but it isn't the town, then I can just be like, okay, well, this is the town, but this isn't really the church either. So it doesn't really matter. I didn't want to. I'm all for getting a Norman style church. I'm not ready to spend $100 on it right now. And I'm actually kind of the opinion of I'm looking more forward towards making destroyed buildings than new buildings, because when you make a destroyed building and you got to put rubble and stuff for it, and I think what I've got going on should work pretty well. I'll be pretty happy with the look of it. When you build a new building, you wonder like, okay, well, when they strip this clean, did they leave any chairs and stuff in there? So now you got to worry about like, okay, am I going to put chairs and hey Marcus, am I going to put chairs and it's almost time for you to come in and comment about the burning panther. Am I going to put paintings on the walls? Am I going to do that kind of stuff? So I think it's just easier to make a destroyed building. And it's funny because I only have one building and it's not destroyed. All the other ones are destroyed. So I don't know that I'm going to get any more undestroyed buildings. So the only thing I would do would be maybe chaotic would be get some buildings that aren't red brick. But then I got to get bricks of other colors. But I'm not scared of that shit. We knocked the brick situation out of the park. I'm very happy with how that turned out. So this is the ubiquitous barn over here that I spent way too much time. Need smoke and flame markers. Yes, I do. I watched some videos on them this morning, but I'm not ready to do that today. We're going to do a deep dive on stuff that's in these manila folders I haven't looked at in 25 years. It's not that exciting, but I'm excited because I haven't seen it in 25 years. So I've spent an inordinate amount of time looking for a barn that a panther can fit in, because that's basically what it is. The panther fits in there. It's annoying that the scenario is not in the back. This is a different scenario. Where is the other scenario? It should be with it. It's got to be right here on top. Let's see. Town of Conscience, St. Magon. That's the other one. Battle of Longevet. There it is. Okay. Brits on one side and Jerry's on the other. Yeah, so this particular scenario, German forces set up force first. All forces indicated on the map, all tanks being in the game or arrive unloaded. Don't know what that means. Maybe that means there's not a round chambered. The tanks may begin the scenario at any speed. Yes, they're all going to start at 7. Panther P1. Can you guys see this screen here? So you got 3 British vehicles here and one. Let me make sure you've got any questions before we do a deep dive. I think the farmhouse will look great. Yeah. How tall and how wide is a Panther I have? It's well, I have several. If I use the smallest one I have. Well, let me get to this and now I'll tell you why we got to do the one that we got to do. Panther 1 may not exit the barn. So there's a exit the barn scenario, part of it. And because of that, I'm going to go grab the smallest Panther I have, which is probably the Matchbox one. Because it's 1/76 scale. Where are you? Ah, yes, the green one. This is probably the smallest. Actually, it doesn't matter. They all have the same footprint. I put them all on the same side stand. So that's the command one. So we'll use the one that has the commander in it. that would have the commander in it. I got a commander that keeps getting passed around. And it's pretty, you've got to like have doors that fits in. I almost would have to custom make one. I don't have time or interest to do that at this moment. So I looked at this, and the first building I started doing was this Normandy farmhouse. If you guys remember last year. And if I just set this like this, like this, and the panther can be here. And it's got to exit the farmhouse complex. It's pretty reasonable to do that. And it gives me a reason to finish this and use it in a scenario. So this is what we're going to use as the barn. Again, this doesn't necessarily represent, this is supposedly a historical scenario. It's got even named folks here for the Brits. It's got a guy named, who's the main guy? Sergeant Harris. Oh, yes. I wonder if he's got a drinking problem. Yeah, so we're going to try that. That's the only thing we got left. We got trees. Anyways, Brits over here, we've got 4 tanks. This one is a Sherman, and 2 of these are Shermans, and one of them is a Firefly, which is also a Sherman. But anyway, so we've got 3 Sherman tanks with 75 millimeter guns, and 1 with the 17-pounder. And yeah, there's actually more Panthers, but they're not all on the board and stuff like that. And it's a reason to finish this, which is it's nearly done. I just have to have details. So we're going to do any painting today. It's going to be to finish this little guy right here. Now, this did suffer moving damage. Now, with that said, it's not significant. And actually, you can't even tell that it's damaged. I can't even tell that it's damaged, even with my contacts out. And the point of damaging is... Dunkelgelb is such a weird color. You put it in natural light and it looks one way. And you look at here and it looks green. You put it on a green grass, it looks green. Maybe that's why it was an effective color. But this is removable here. And this is actually what broke off. And it's a clean break. So we're going to super glue this back on. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that after we see what the hell's in that envelope. Get on with it! Actually have to fit in, could take the floor plan approach like you are with a building. It didn't have to fit in, but it's an opportunity to use this. The problem with it not fitting in is the first turn it starts moving. What if it's like halfway in, halfway out of the barn? Then it needs to physically fit in the barn. Here it's not an issue. You want it to be in real jam? Put it back here. How are you going to make this fucking corner? Anyhow, I really am surprised how well the stone worked here. I was really scared of that. But like I said, you just have to just start painting it. It'll figure it's work its way out. Now, this is a totally different brick color. And I don't need any spare bricks for this because it came with its built-in rubble, which it doesn't look that bad. But it should look the part compared to the other buildings. Let's pull one of these over here. Yeah, they're done in a similar style. That's why I don't want to do commercial stuff. Because it's like, oh, they won't be painted the same style. All right, so let's move the farmhouse out of here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this and this. So when I move it over here, it can't fall on the ground and shatter. I'll have to fall into a sinkhole. Okay. Let's see what's in this. Let's see what's in here. I know what's in here. I just don't know exactly what's in here. Let's move Mr. Panther out of the way. Oh, there's the other panther. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3. Well, 2 of them are cursed panthers, so I got 2 cursed panthers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other ones. Yeah. I had the models. What am I going to do? And I want to build more. They're fun. I can't decide on a paint scheme. So paint 5 of them. You know, and then you can do all the paint schemes you like. Okay. Let's do the small folder first. Love that farmhouse. Okay. So this is, I've had this a long time. Room pre-reg. I think this is probably something I got at one of the conventions. Anyways, I commandeered this. Soldier names. So this is my list of things that I printed out a long time ago for soldier names. And I started looking at this Hoffman figure. And I was thinking, I wonder if I got a Hoffman name already pre-printed. So this is several different fonts that I've used throughout the years. Oh, these are my French names I thought I was going to print out. Yeah, I got most of those guys. And some of them I pulled out of my ass, and some of them I've been playing like Close Combat or something like that, and go like, oh, that'd be a good last name for so-and-so. So I want to see what exactly I have here. Okay, so we've got a lot of... I didn't know that I had this many French names already. Okay, and... Oh, excellent. Some of these are the redo names on some of my old figures that have the old basing. So if you take a guy like Schaefer, I believe he's a guy who runs I believe Schaefer runs the MG42. He's a kneeling guy with a 42. Is he in the other bin? Yeah. I can't do more of these figures because I don't have any... Oh, I forgot to do Kaufman. I mean, I just have to put Tufts on him. All right, well, we're going to get to you shortly. And my Soviet tank crewman, too. All right, well, we got some things we can work on today. This guy, Schaefer. He's got the old lettering. He's got the old style lettering. So I had pre-printed him with his name. So we could redo the base on him. Okay, interesting. So, all right. Because I need to figure out how to fire up the printer again. I've got a printer here, but I don't know how to connect it. So let me sort guys that I have the name already made for them, and that's one step less towards them getting operational. Because it'd be nice to... I'm happy with how all of these look. Other than the basing, it'd be, you know, and then I did the basing yesterday. I was like, yeah, that turned out really well. So let's see who we have here that is good to go based on these names that we have here. Okay, so we have, let's use a pencil because some of these guys I've already, I guess I pre-printed the names for these, even though like this guy, here's Keller. And I've got Keller's name here, so I didn't really need him. I guess I was worried if I wasn't going to be able to go over that green. Okay, so where is my... That'll work. Okay. Layman. I don't remember if I've got... Now, these guys are all guys I have. So, Dorman's good to go. Oh, but they don't have freaking magnets. Okay, so I need to go about this a little bit different. Here's Bob Vila. Do I have a Vila here? I should. It looks like this is the names of all the guys. I just can't seem to find it right here. Okay, because he's actually has a magnet on him. Here's the, yeah, this is the staff sergeant, Stefan. He has a magnet on him as well, so he should be good to go. Yeah, I got the magnets on order. I'm not sure when they're going to get here. And all my Brits have magnets, but I don't have the Brit names. I don't think I reprinted them. And I like this style better than the original one. Anyhow, so I've got names here. Do I have a Hoffman? I've got a Brinkman, I've got a Volkman, I got a Zimmerman. That's some good Nazi names there. Okay, these are my African names, so they have a different style writing. What do we got here? This is Americans. These are African type stuff for the modern Africa. That's my Americans. Got a guy named Valdez. Okay, I'm going to throw this one away because this is African names in the wrong size font. They're too small. I haven't looked at this stuff in a long time. Why didn't I do Hoffman? Maybe it's just too basic. I don't know. I'm not giving up. I may have a Hohenstein. These are Russian names. I would have actually put down good. I even have an American named Papadopoulos. Long as shit. I think that's actually a pretty common Greek name. It might be Greek for Smith or something. Maybe I don't. Yeah, see, this is the old names. They're just a little too small. I don't have a Hoffman. Okay, well, we'll have to make one. We'll have to make a Hoffman. Okay. Well, damn. So this is what's in the soldier names. I haven't looked at this in a long time, but we need to make a Hoffman. Yeah, I don't want to paint these guys and realize, oh, I got to put magnets on them. The magnets will be here in, I guess, a couple of weeks. It's about how long it'll take Litco to get here. I got about 200 magnets coming, so. Those things cost way too much money, but it's a quality product. I mean, if I'm going to do it, I might as well. I'm going to spend the hours and hours and hours that I spend on this kind of stuff. I might as well be happy with the outcome. Okay, so now we're going to look at this. You guys will find this a little bit more interesting if it's what I think it is. And this I certainly have not looked at in a long time. I'm put the figures over here. Even though we're going to pull them out later. No, we got to do the farmhouse, what we got to do today. That's what we're going to roll into when we get out of this. So I didn't know what this was. I thought this might have been some kind of like official documents or something like that, but it wouldn't be in this room if it was. This is stuff from the game. This is the face of battle stuff. I need to take care of that manila envelope because I don't have other ones laying around. There's one thing that always was elusive about this game that I think I solved what it is. And I'll get to that in a second. When you look at... I may have to pull the sheet out of this because this notebook is huge. And this notebook is huge because everything's plastic protected. So that like triples the thickness or something like that. Move these tanks out of the way. When you look at the data for, I'm gonna hit these guys? No, we're good. You look at the data for, here's some scenarios from skirmish campaigns that are free. I decided to pick those up. How to convert skirmish campaigns to the face of battle, basically between the T ratings that they use and skirmish campaigns, how to convert it into the... It's not difficult. You'd be able to figure it out on your own, you know. So, yeah, basically if your troops are T1, if your troops are T2 or T3, they're 2 chits each. And you have basically three factors that are important for each character. One of them is how many tokens they use per turn, how many actions per turn, which most troops it's 2. The 95% of them are going to be 2 tokens each. You got to be really poor quality, and then you've got your ability score. I forget exactly what it's called, and then your morale score. So it's basically the number of tokens, which is almost always 2. And then your ability score, and then your morale score. And generally, they kind of go together. You don't have guys that have a really high ability and really low morale. Those 2 numbers are usually pretty close. So if you're looking at like a T2 type character, he's got 2 actions. His ability score is anywhere between is either a 6 or a 7. And his morale is anywhere between, depending on whether it's an A+ or whatever, it's somewhere around 80 or 70 or something like that. And it's basically in a percentile. So it's really simple, like, your chance of passing it is like 80%. And there's modifiers to it. So it sounds complicated, but it's not. There's a lot of like, you look at like these ranges of where your skills could be on this chart, and most of them are in this small zone in the center. If you're talking about, unless you're using like conscripts versus, super elite stuff. So one of the things that's kind of hard to understand about the game, and I think I've solved it, is let's look at the data sheet for, this looks really complicated, but it's not. You don't use this shit all the time. And I'm almost ready to do a battle. I'm almost ready to do something. Not something really small, I think. And not this scenario with the tanks. Like a sniper hunt or something like that. So let's go to the back where the organization stuff. I don't read the TO&E. That's a lot of this stuff you kind of know. Where is the Russian leaders, equivalent, zone of control, yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay, so here's the data sheet for the Soviets. This will work to illustrate it, and I'll show you what the problem is. Or what I think the problem is. I think how I solved it. So there's a lot of stuff on this chart, okay? But here's the name of the weapon, the year it was used, zippity-doo-dah, the caliber. Again, not really important unless you're really that interested. Quality modifier, there's some things that, due to jams and stuff, they're more likely to jams and stuff like that. All the Soviet stuff is just standard +0. Um, shots per action. Most things are basically only going to get one shot, and it's basically, think of it as one roll. That's how many times you get to roll for it. So almost everything is a single shot unless you've got a Tokarev pistol, fires twice. I don't know why they have SKS on here. I don't know that they used them in World War II, or if it says 1945. I won't be using any SKSs in any of my scenarios. SVT-40, which is their semi-automatic rifle, gets 2 shots. Shots per action single shot, shots per action spray. Okay, so they have 2 different things. Shots per action single shot, shots per action spray. When you do a spray, you're able to put down this. Okay, so you put that and it can affect any guys in that area. So you could affect multiple people in there. You don't keep track of ammunition. I did in the game I was creating, but I was super anal retentive. And there's some and then there's some weapons that could put down fire lanes, which in that case it's kind of the same thing. This disappears after every time you fire. The fire lane stays active, and the fire lane is pretty big. It puts down a beaten zone, which I know in reality it should be oblong shaped. Whatever. Maybe that'll be a house rule that I do. So you put this thing down with one of these weapons, and anybody that travels into that area until your turn comes back up can get hit by residual fire in there. Okay? Sounds complicated. It's not. It all makes sense. And you're dealing with one particular soldier at one time. Okay? So, the DP machine guns, the Maxims, SG-43, and the DSHK. I'm not sure what an SG-43 is. It's something. And the DSHK can put down different things on there. And the penetration factor of these weapons. Okay? So, which unfortunately is not a real number. The only gripe I have so far on this set of rules is you've got these penetration factors, but they're not equivalent to, they're not done in like centimeters or anything like that. So it's like, the Soviet anti-tank rifle penetrates 27. So you have to compare that to the armor value of where you hit on the vehicle. And I have a feeling this 27 has to do with a percentile of something, because all the firing gets done that way as well. Here's the part that's confusing. Rushing firing ranges. And I've looked through the rules, I can't find it. The rules have pulled a DBA in this situation. Okay? There's Russian firearm ranges. There's normal, 3/4, 2/3, half, 1/3, 1/4. And I start getting confused with, is this like when you're 3/4 of a difference? Like, why did they bother differentiating that? And I have a feeling this is, and I'm not completely sure, I have a feeling that I just need, if I'm going to play in 1-to-1 scale, I can just ignore all this stuff over here. I just need this, because there's a short, there's an effective, and there's a long range on everything in inches. Okay? So this is if I want to play 3/4 of the way condensed, 2/3 of the way condensed, and so it did the conversion for you. But I'm interested in playing in normal. So you got pistols are going out to 8 inches. In real life, a pistol would go even out farther than that. But at some point, you need to drop. You need to just go with this. So you have basically submachine guns are going out to 30 inches. That's how far they're firing. And the rifles, they could shoot across the board, but they're limited here to like 76 inches, which is damn near across the board, 6 feet, So I guess it's condensed a little bit, but we're going to use these normal ranges. So this ties up a lot of, like, what I like to say is this creates a lot of noise on this page. So you just need to just eliminate that stuff and just look at these numbers right here, because it tells if you're firing a pistol and you're 4 inches away, it's more than 2, so you're outside of short range. It's effective range, which I suspect probably doesn't have any modifiers. And same thing with grenades. So grenades can go up to 20 inches, 16 inches for most of the grenade throwing. And it's different per grenade. You know, they've got a Model 1930 grenade, an F1, an RG-42, that kind of stuff. Molotov cocktail. Molotov cocktails only go out to 12 inches. So, and of course, obviously, there's deviation and stuff like that. So that's one thing when I was playing. I didn't understand what this meant over here, and I think that's what it is. It's a condensed. If you're playing it if you're playing this game at the most condensed form, it's gonna not allow you to play. It's not gonna allow you to shoot rifles past 19 inches away. You know, these are not to hit tables. This just tells you what the distance is. We're gonna get to the to hit tables, but I think that's what I solved on that. I don't want to make it sound like it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's multifaceted. Because a lot of these charts have a lot of what I call noise. You know, it's like if you use Excel, right? Like I use Excel a lot. There's a lot of things that Excel does that I don't need, but yet they're on the screen and there's no way to turn them off. It's noise. So when I'll do these charts for the players, all that noise will be eliminated. There's a lot of stuff they don't even know what the fuck the caliber it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't come up. You know. Russian mortar data, you know. Here, it doesn't have the 3 different distances. So, you know, the 50 millimeter mortar, remember I came across a 50 millimeter mortar here. Short range is 4 inches. So if you're shorter than 4, well, I mean, if you're 5 inches away from somebody, you probably don't need to be firing the mortar at somebody. You need to, you need to get the fuck out of there. Like, something's gone wrong, right? But it goes up to like 50 inches. So the 82 millimeter mortar, standard Soviet mortar, can go up to 700 inches away. Yeah, that's plenty. And then it'll tell you what size of the blast radius it is, and then the numbers for the primary and secondary, and also the penetration factor. So, all right. I told you this was going to be a dive. I don't know. Maybe you'll find this interesting. Maybe you're like, what the hell are you talking about? You'll see. You'll see when we play it. This isn't that complicated. There's a lot of, there's rules for everything. So, you know, it takes up space. All right. So what else is in this? What else is in this bag? So we got the beaten zone. We got the spray thing. This is your movement chart. This is your movement chart. And this is something that's in the book, and you can print it and move on your movement card. And this is basically the max your infantry figure can move is 5 inches away. You can move less than that. And a lot of it depends on what position you start in and what position you end in. So if you go from crawl to crawl, it's this distance. If you go crawl to and end up standing up, I'm not gonna let anybody crawl right off the bat. That's one thing that consumes a lot of time is crawling. Different poses. It doesn't really matter. You're standing up all the time, and it makes it harder for people to get hit anyway. So, so this kind of tells you what it is you can do. So on movement, well, this is just a standard infantry movement. But the other stuff, this is actually for the vehicles. Movement, you move on your movement card. Now, when it says card, just think of it as chit, because I'm not using cards. I'm using chits. All right? Movement is divided into 10 segments. So each vehicle has 10 movement segments for in it. So not only will you have the chits for the actual vehicle of the crew members that are in the bag, but you're going to have 10 movement chips for, say, allies and Axis or whatever. So when you pull one of them, and they don't have to be in any sequence. I mean, you could number them 1 through 10 to make sure that you have all 10 of them, but they don't necessarily have to have a number. When you pull one, you do one of the movement impulses for that. Okay? Which could get complicated if you have a lot of vehicles, but if it's just one vehicle, it should be pretty easy. Movement rate is 1 to max speed per segment. Most of the vehicles go from 1 to like 7, and that's how many inches per impulse you can move. Okay? But you have to pre-plot kind of the move that you're going at, or plot it as you go. Turning wheeled and half-track vehicles can turn up to 45 while moving, may turn multiple times during the move. Fully tracked vehicles, for every 45 degrees, use 1 inch of forward move. So, you can only turn 45 degrees every inch. So if you're moving 3, you can make like 3 45-degree turns. Again, I'm already looking like, okay, King Tiger shouldn't be able to move just as fast as something else. So, may turn multiple times during the move. Well, not if you're moving at 1. You want to turn 3 times, you better be moving at least 3. Movement card. So on your movement card, when the card comes up, you need to stop. So normally you can adjust those things when the driver card comes up. And the movement card comes up, you can also adjust them, but you risk the chance of getting a breakdown, of fucking up your clutch. So stop and start, you can do both of those things, but you risk a breakdown. You move at your current rate, because that's what the card really is for. And you can change speed 1 up or down and move normally. So if you're moving at 1, one of the impulse cards comes up for the allied vehicles, and you want to move up to 2, you could move up to 2, or like, turn 1 and then the 45-degree turn type of thing. Okay, you don't have to pre-plot that. You figure it out when the impulse comes, and all the Shermans would do that at the same time. Okay. When the driver's card comes up, you can change speed by 1 or down, but no forward move. So you can adjust that stuff, but they don't actually move until the impulse comes. Okay. They can stop at no additional cost. I don't know if you can go from a full speed to a stop. Start speed is at 1. Turn up to 45 degrees if moving, tracked only. Turn up to 180 if not moving, tracked only. Okay. We'll figure that stuff as we go. This is just a handy little thing. Wind direction. Okay, if you're dropping smoke or something like that. Some notes that I put on here. Minefield, I don't know if we used a minefield. Yeah, there's scenarios with minefields on them. Medium mortar. Here's my notes for medium mortar. Loader, 1 action to load. Gunner, 1 action to fire. Check the range, do a skill check. If you get an auto success, it's on target. If you get an auto fail result, you get a mishap. Mortar deviation, it's 1d10 for direction. Short, success is 1d6, fail 2d6. So it deviates anyways. So if you get it successful, it's going to deviate by 1d6 in a 1d10 direction. Cannot deviate by more than half the distance to the target. Yeah, if you're firing at something, 12 inches away, it can't deviate by more than 6 inches. You can only go so far away. Corrections. Direct fire mode. Gunner makes, so in other words, if they're actually looking at the actual target. Gunner makes skill check. If successful, reduce deviation by 1d6. In direct fire mode, observer makes correction. Only 1 correction attempt between firings. If the target moved, all is lost. Don't use mortars on moving targets. I guess you lose the correction. That's just notes I did way back when, because the first scenario I did was, I did it all wrong. I did it at a convention. There's all new people playing. I was limited to a 4-hour window. Yeah, it didn't go well. So here's another movement marker. We could make more. There's another beaten zone. Another beaten zone. Okay. I don't know what the hell that means. These are extra counters you can print out. I created a bunch of extra counters that have all kinds of different nomenclature on here. Here is I'm surprised that this long ago I was able to print this on acetate. Grenade toss template, 28mm to 20mm to 28mm. So basically you put the grenade, if it deviates, you roll a die, and that's where it lands in the thing. This is at short range, you use that. Long range, you use that kind of thing. Are there any other range things? Here's the burst. Explosion and scatter template. And it basically tells you how big your explosion thing is. Put it on it and you can tell who gets blasted in it. And this is what I was using to notate if somebody was either prone or kneeling. A bunch of P's and K's. We'll set this off to the side. I'm not interested in bogging the game down with that. You do a lot of these, like, you run drop type things prone, and then you can't see stuff. And it just, if you want to play that way, go play, not Call of Duty, the other one. Go play one of those first-person shooters. I can't remember what that game was that we played. That you drop into Cuba. You drop in a long time ago on the original Xbox, and it was like freaking raining and shit like that, and you couldn't see anything. And you're like, I haven't played those games so long, I forgot the names of them. So here's the charts. So here's some of the charts of the game. And of course they're protected because we need to take care of this stuff. So this is some terrain stuff. And there's all kinds of stuff here, but it doesn't necessarily get used. Explosions, direct fire, indirect fire. And this is firearms, melee, and overrun. You know, attacker on horse. How often is that going to happen? Well, first of all, I don't have any mounted figures, so you can just eliminate that one, you know. Main armament, anti-tank gun, light anti-tank gun weapons. Look, I didn't have this on here. You know, so basically you take like your skill set, which is normally like around 60 or 70. Okay, to hit you must score equal or less than your combat value. So you need to roll less than the 60 or 70. It's modified by, you know, through smoke, that kind of stuff. So if you have a guy that has a skill set of like 60, you got to roll 60 or less when you take a shot to be able to hit with him. Okay, and you want to get a low number. So if you have something like you're firing through smoke, your number's doubled. You know, so if you roll an 80, it's really 160. Well, that's not less than 60, so you're not going to hit. Soldier wounded, your number's doubled. Soldier shaken, pinned, or broken, which could happen. You know, times 2. You know, so you could really make a vehicle really ineffective by shaking its crew. Acquisition. Target moved into or out of line of sight this action. So if you didn't see him before, and this action you saw him, your number's doubled to hit him. Target is in short range, minus 30 to your number. Target is in long range, plus 30. You're not going to have long range with vehicles. It just isn't going to happen. The range is really, really close. Vehicle buttoned up is a plus 10. That's not a big whammy. I'd stay buttoned the fuck up all the time. Target is a large vehicle, minus 20. Target is a very large vehicle, minus 20. Target vehicle moving per inch segment, plus 5. So if you have a vehicle that's moving full on, like 6 inches, plus 5, that's an extra 30. Attacking vehicle moving per inch segment, that's plus 8. So if you're moving at a speed of 3, now you're plus 24. And these are modifications that you do to the die roll, which is not my preference. I prefer to leave the die roll as it is and not modify it, and then move the number that you need to reach it by. But that's easy common sense which one it is. Target's 25% covered. Target's 50% covered. Target's 75% covered. And then if you have a mishap, then you end up rolling where you hit on it. This is not covered in plastic because I haven't done it before. 1 inch to 2 meters ground scale, yes. 1 inch to 2 meters ground scale. I almost wish, if I had nothing to do in my entire life, I would take all of these and multiply all the numbers by 2, and then we could talk about actual meters. So, I know it's not an exact conversion, but it's soft enough. Let's hear. Yeah, so here is U.S. elements of first, but this is for one scenario that I have. This is the one scenario that I built the stuff for the Americans and the Germans in this one scenario out of skirmish campaigns. And actually, so all of these figures have 2 actions. They all have a combat value of 50. I'm sorry about the 60 or the 70. They all have 50. And the morale is either 60, one guy is a 70. And then these other things that are out here basically tell you what kind of leader they are. They're all average or poor. These guys are green. You know, they're just green, and they have zones of control that they can use their additional chits. Um, Within a certain distance of them. This is what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to make cards like this and make a stack of cards. I'm like, it's just a lot easier to do chits, and I'm the world's worst card shuffler. What's in here? Face of Battle errata. Oh no. Yeah, here it is. Ground scale. 20 millimeter. 1 inch equals 2 meters. Yep. And they don't want you to change it at all. If you're playing it in 15, they want you to condense it. So if you're playing, it even says 1/72, 1/76, same thing, 1.0. I may, I think I may photocopy this and then put it on the rules in the place where it belongs. I'm not playing a tournament. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. And this is the kind of stuff I'm going to have for the players. Vehicle movement card. This basically tells you everything you can do on the movement card. It's not difficult. It's not difficult. It's just multifaceted. Firearm and hand grenade crew. Okay, it just depends on what terrain. So you roll a die, you compare it to what type of terrain it's in, and figure out explosions, direct fire, indirect fire. Flamethrower generic. There's a minimum range on a flamethrower. So here, vehicle flamethrower goes out to 30 inches. A man pack flamethrower goes out to 20 inches. Well, we're just gonna throw that out the window, because if there's other data that varies from that, we're going to use the real data, because not every flamethrower was the same. Okay. Hey studio, good evening from the future. You know, bazookas, for instance, does it have a range on bazookas? The 1944 bazooka, 30 inches away. That's pretty reasonable. You're not going to have these situations where it's like, oh, I'm never going to reach it. You know, Panzerfaust 60-20. That's long range. You're probably not going to hit with the damn thing, but, you know. What's in here? Morale resolution. Yeah. And the skill resolution table. This is the one you're using all the time. This is the one you're using to hit. Firing a rifle grenade, throwing item while prone. Sounds really complicated. It is if you try to throw everything at once. So I think that keeping it small till you got the basics is probably. I mean, I got to do it on my own, so I know how to explain it to people. You know, I gotta play this a couple times by myself. So you guys are probably going to see some solo games. Okay. All the terrains. This is why this rule's so big. All the terrain, then the terrain type, and then the cover type. So there's two different things. So like, for instance, you've got like Forest Light is a medium terrain type, but cover type partial. Miring events, vehicle cut terrain modifiers. This probably wouldn't be a good set of rules if you're playing a period you're not familiar with. Like, I don't know anything about the Second World War. Let me play this. You're fucked. That's spotting. My least favorite thing in any game is spotting. It's important, but basically, short range, 16 inches, any unit within 8 is automatically spotted. Well, assuming there's line of sight to it. So short range is 16 inches, medium range is 36, long range is more than 36. To spot, you must score equal or less than your combat value. Auto success, unmodified roll of 10% of your combat value. So if your combat value is, in that case, those Americans, is at 50, if you roll 5 or less, you spotted him automatically, no matter if he's in the snow, rain, targeted, that kind of stuff. So, spotting aids, binoculars, -20. Doubles all spotting ranges. So binoculars, they're short range with binoculars go out to 36 inches. Medium range out to 72. So if you got a guy with binoculars, he basically can see the entire board in medium range. Pretty cool. Scope, -10 to spot. Doubles all spotting ranges. Buttoned up, half all your spotting ranges. And then one of my favorite things is mishaps. So that's what's in the box, what's in the package. Anyways, I'm getting excited about starting to play this game, but I think I'm going to create something that is really, really small. And just go from there. As a test thing, so I can familiarize myself with it. And I've played it before, and I really liked it. It made sense. More importantly, it made sense. It was not vague. It was not vague. Okay. One step closer towards playing. I know some of you guys need to keep your hands out of your pants, but we'll get there. We'll get there unless I die abruptly. Hey, that could happen to any of us. It was a fun ride. So instead of those stupid cards they want you to print and stick on and shuffle, and hopefully you don't dog ear the corner so you know what's coming up next, I'm going to be using this, and we're going to put them in a Crown Royal bag or something like that and draw one chit at a time. So, each one of these chits will have something like, what's the name of this dude right here? I'm probably going to use pencils, so if I have to erase them, it's not a big deal. Larson. So I'd make 2 chits for Larson. You pull one. What is it? It's Larson. That's who goes up next. Now I can't put it back because now I'll be like, where is that? Anyhow, normally I would use permanent, but I think the permanent ends up getting soaked into this. It ends up, after about a month, I'm not going to be able to read what the name is. Actually, the pencil works just fine. Use a soft lead and it should be good to go. Until you run out of chits. When you run out of chits, the game's over. The turn's over with. All right. So one thing before we get started. I know on the short term we're going to paint this Hoffman figure. And I didn't get the black everywhere it went. So let's do that. And then we'll go and start working on the farmhouse. Oh, this is one we used for something else. All right. That's one that we used for the coating on it, on the figures. Whatever that's called. Varnish. Varnish just reminds me of a chair. It also reminds me of something that's shiny. Like you can't have like flat varnish. To me, varnish is always like a glossy coating that you put on your colonial chairs. Colonial style chairs. I need to hook up the printer soon so we can print out a name for this guy. Since we've already named him before we painted him. Not usually the way I do things. special circumstance. We'll make an exception in this case. All right, so let's rinse this out. Let's leave this out, and I'm gonna put these 2 tanks away so something doesn't occur, and we'll bring the Normandy farmhouse out here, and start working on the few things that are left to paint on it. And unfortunately, it is a big fucking footprint. This thing is big. And it's heavy. So this got broken in the move. Mainly because this is like concrete. It's got no flex in it. And this was packed in a box, and I'm sure the box when it was going in the truck, and I moved it myself. It probably shattered, but it was a clean break. And if it wasn't, it's a damaged building. It's not that big of a deal. Let's remove all this extra stuff. Okay, that's how it fits on, and there's literally nothing. Now, I think if I use the gap filling stuff, I'm gonna have a problem. I probably need to use the super glue that's not gap filling. And half of me wants to use epoxy. I'm gonna use epoxy. I got a lot more confidence in epoxy. But I don't want to trash one of these little lids. So let me go ahead and take this. Now lots of people are like really anti-epoxy. I hated epoxy in the 1980s. Or if you got to use the 2 tubes, you don't use this pre-mixed stuff. The stuff you got to mix yourself as you go. I've had nothing but good luck with it. And hopefully if I do it right, I don't have to paint over it. I don't have to cover up this mold. You know, the problem is you've got this material that's very brittle, this resin, and then you're going to super glue it, and the super glue is also brittle. So you got two double brittled things, and this thing broke because it was too brittle. So I'm like, let's solve the brittleness problem. Let's get should be a needle up here. There we go. That's funny. This is the first building I was working on, and it's the last one that's going to be done because the other 6 are complete. And I want to do more buildings. I got 3 more buildings to do. I got the 2 tenement blocks, probably the best way to describe them. And then I have the little cafe that's undamaged, which I guess the Germans wanted to eat there, so that's why they didn't bombard that. Eat or drink coffee. I don't know. I guess there's people that want warm drinks and warm weather. Like, I never understand, like, British tankers, right? I understand you having a tea break. I don't understand having hot tea in the desert. Like, no. I don't have hot tea in Florida when I'm indoors. And I like the taste of tea. I just don't want it to be hot. All right, so we're going to cheat towards the inside. We're going to put most of it, and hopefully it won't splooge out. And wait for it to set a little bit more. Yeah, this looks pretty decent on the inside. I may have to put this on graph paper or something. There's just some of these places where the figure is just not going to physically fit. Staircase and stuff like that. It's pretty damn narrow. You can go up the staircase like this, you know. So let's cheat this towards the inside. As you use a needle, so you can take the old epoxy off relatively easy with an X-Acto knife like I did. Let's use our nearsightedness to our advantage. I don't care if it splooges out the back. We'll repaint that. Right. So what's left to paint on this thing? Well, this is pretty much painted. And this is pretty much painted. I mean, I had too much free fucking time on the hands. I put the detail on that door. That door is completely flat. Didn't even have a doorknob on it. It's just completely flat. So the bottom of it came broken like that. I decided to just say, okay, well, that's one you can... The bottom broke down of it. Oh, I didn't paint this side. Well, we're not going to. That's a detail too far. I did have fun doing that. That took a while to do. Well, that's pretty much good to go. And that's pretty much good to go. So we've got an entry gate here to paint. We have some doors here on the coupe. The inside of this building is good enough for me. And the doors over here on this building. So doors, gate. Maybe some details on the inside. Seal it. And we're golden. And this is the final building there for this. That we will use. This house has an address, 1760. This is an old models by Queen's Hussars. Now they're carried, some of their stuff is carried by Lancer Miniatures. So I'm going to do this gate here. I guess that's what this is. Oh, it is painted. I painted it like it was iron. I don't know that that's the direction I'm going to go in. It looks like it's missing something, so I'm probably going to make it wooden. Oh, there's a little thing here. So I've got some wooden things to paint here. Let's get a new one of these that'll help me think. Window over here that's also not painted. Windows on all these on the outside seems to be in white, so that seems to be a pretty good trend. I'm going to do the outside trim in brown. Let's get some brown out here. I'm not going to use, we're going to need flow aid. I'm not going to use craft paint for this because I want it to cover pretty well. And I'm not doing very large areas. So we're not going to use a wet palette. We're going to use some flow aid. And that should be good enough for this. Let's get us a brown. I'm going to start off with this SS Camo Black, I think. Or whatever the hell it's called. Oh, this is the SS. This is the old SS Camo Black. Now it's called something different. And let's get a brush that we can count on. Too small. We'd like to be done this week. This one. And normally we'd need black to mix it up. I'm just going to start with this color. A little bit of flow aid so it goes on easy. I'm going to start with, let's move this stuff out of the way so we don't bang it up. It's going to paint the whole thing brown. Except the windows in the middle. We're trying to avoid that. Now this is a little building that you can walk into. We just have to sit that off to the side. If you see a doorway, you're going to be able to go into it in this game. Okay. And there is some really rough parts of this casting, like this that goes over it, so we're going to probably paint this like it's got some ivy or something growing on it to kind of cover over any of those things that it might have. I don't know how old these molds are, but I suspect they're from the 1980s. And I don't really know what the original mold's made out of. It was made out of Sculpey or something. Something like that. An article in the last issue. I finally was able to download it. Issue 131. War Game Soldier Strategy. I haven't really looked at it in detail, but there's an article there on how to make a factory by that one guy that does all the really cool buildings. I'm like, this is great, but it's a hollow factory. Like, it doesn't do me any good. I mean, I'm better. I just want to. I'll buy 3D printed stuff. I don't need to make that stuff out of scratch. I'm already making the roads out of scratch. I don't need to do buildings. It's not like I need to build a certain building that needs to look exactly a certain way. So this one's done. So let's move on over to this part of the complex. I'm going to go ahead and just start with this as the base color. Now, this is where it gets kind of tricky. So I got to be able to get into where this is at. That's where putting that little bit of flow aid on the paint I find helps a lot, because it allows it to flow a lot better, hence the name. This is just the door of the pigsty that was left open. I guess that's what this is. Or a chicken coop, or... And then this one's closed, so we'll... Let's lose this. We're going to tip this right now. It's like there's a little door within the door. And while I've got this at this angle, I'm going to go ahead and paint these here. You need to consult the Osprey book, Pigsties of Northern France. It could be a chicken coop or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not a farmer. I should ask Mitch. He's got chickens. A chicken farmer. And I don't know if I like this iron. It doesn't stand out or anything. But why would this be a fence that not made of iron? I'm going to paint it wooden colored. Make it stand out a little bit better. Considering the roadway is already done. Let's stay in that color. And you look at stuff like this, did they try to make it like there's bushes or ivy or something like that growing? Or is it just a casting problem? Probably a casting problem, I would think. I don't know what that is, but that doesn't need to be there. All right, I think that was everything that was left on there. I'm not going to do the inside of the windows on the inside of the building. That's a detail too far. A retention too far. All right, so now we've got this color. Let's get a warm... Let's use one of these new Vallejos. What color is this? Leather brown. I don't like these new bottles. I don't like how they feel. Why do I gotta be changing shit? Bring this up some more. I'm fine now. Let's use the Figure-atively white. No, not this one. That's not white. There we go. Cold white. And make sure the feed was still going. I put you guys down for your nap. Now, let's put my glasses on, step away, and see what it looks like. Yeah, I feel like maybe we need a little bit of warming up a little bit. You're cutting up plastic for broken glass scatter. Pieces are flying everywhere. Wow. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching with a 30-foot pole. Glass scatter. Let's add a little bit of color to this. Stuff's going everywhere. Your wife's gonna be all up on you like a rat on a Cheeto. That's like, I saw those videos, that teddy bear fur. It's like, I'm not making a teddy bear fur. that would drive her crazy. It'd drive me crazy. All that synthetic shit everywhere. It'd be like a crime scene. It's not like I want the chaos and she doesn't. No, I don't want the chaos either. Alright, so we're going to do that. These we're going to leave. We're not going to have as much yellow in it. Let's use a different color. We can do the door and this the same thing. Actually, the window would be just, we're going to need more of this. Come on, why are you being so difficult? I can't fucking see. I can't see this far away. I'm getting tired of putting glasses on and glasses on, glasses off. There we go. Let's set that there. There we go. In the immortal words of Kimberly Wilkins, ain't nobody got time for that. That's right. Is that what her name is? She doesn't look like a Kimberly. Just saying. I can't spend an inordinate amount of time on everything. Nothing would happen. Everybody takes shortcuts. Welcome back, Herr Heine. Herr Heine. Shit, you're going to need a character too. We're going to need a Heine. I need some folks without any Germanic names. Where's my Russians at? I need some Russian names. No, I got a ton of them. Just yeah, that's gonna look okay for the trim. I don't want to put my hand over that. Problem with naming characters after some of you is like, the mission could be to get your ass killed. It's just, that's not really what my intention is, but, You get this large destroyed Sarissa Precision Tractor Factory model. Surely they must be broken glass. Yeah. How is the Sarissa stuff? Is it okay? That looks pretty good. I get Sarissa mixed up with the ones that went out of business. 4G or 4ground. 4ground, that's what it is. I guess Sarissa's still around, 4ground's not. I have very limited experience with MDF. I did not like building this thing out of it. This thing was a pain in the butt. This it turned out okay. It's great now, but it was that took way too long for what it was. But all my roads and stuff were with MDF, and I like that stuff. Wish I didn't have to seal it, but it is what it is. It cuts easy. I'll leave the outside trim in brown. And then let's just go to pure white for the final. Oh, while Marcus was here, I needed to read something. Panther 3 enters at the start of turn 2, speed 3. The tank is on fire from a previous non penetrating hit. The camouflage netting and external baggage is burning. The fire does not affect the crew or the tank. All combat from the tank is at plus times 2 smoke modifier. Okay, so it just needs smoke. It's more like smoldering. Panther 3, where's that one located at? Oh, it comes on the board. It comes on the board on this edge up here. Yeah. Your Mrs. Ex-Husband, a far dinkum. Oh, I need a translation for that one. Ex-Soviet Army Sergeant is Vladimir Kachkevich. Gachkevich. You want me to use that name? I will. I got a lot of Soviet names, though, pre-printed. Just the scenario with the Soviets are just going to be big, so I got lots of Soviets to paint still that I really like the figures. Actually, of all the figures that I have painted already, the ones I like the least are the Soviets, because they were the earliest ones that I painted. Well, the earliest Germans I had painted, I've stripped them, so they're not really in any good shape. So the Soviets that I painted after the Germans look better than the Germans, but I think I'm going to change the color of their bedrolls, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Sometimes you want me to use that name? Okay. All right. Let's pull that one up. Let's see how it's spelled. Gachkevich. Is it Gachkevich? Gachkevich. Your Mrs. Ex-Husband. Fardinkum. Is that a good thing? You get along well with him, or should we put him somewhere where he's going to get killed? Gachkevich. Gach. Fuck, that's as long as Papadopoulos. Gachkevich. Great guy, but he's in. You guys don't have any videos on OnlyFans or anything, do you? Not that I want to watch them. Oh man. Oh. Ooh, it's foggy out there. Gachkevich. All right, we'll make him somebody. He's a good guy, huh? All right. Gachkevich. That's how I'm going to say it. I'm going to call it Gachkevich. What is he? Ex-Soviet Army Sergeant. Commanded a 2S1 Govzdika. That sounds like an artillery piece. One of those self-propelled artilleries. Am I right? To win a prize? The 2S1s, that sounds like. And I've never done modern Soviet stuff. All right. We're not going to do white trim on this. Boy, this is difficult to get to. All right, we can do better than this. Yes, SPA introduced in 70 something. Okay. Yeah, I can picture what those look like. Those have probably just enough armor just to keep some shrapnel off of them. I suspect that they don't have a lot of armor on them. But that's not really what their role is. Whoop! Oh, and I was able to pull that off. I got kind of an unsupported hand. Give this thing a hug and paint. Okay, that's going to be metal. Wow. Into the cauldron here. I can't get far enough where I want to, but I'll have to get to it from the other side. Cool looking vehicle. All right, have fun modeling. Got to get to breakfast duty. Face of battleground scale is effectively 1/72. There you go. can't think of a better reason to play it than that. Touch up some of the stuff that's close to the edge that can't hit that. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. That's kind of a tough, that's kind of a tight place to get to. Can't wait to see the Burning Panther. Well, it's just going to be smoldering. We're going to do some, some black. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I watched a couple videos. I'm tended. I want to do some stuff with tea lights. I need to see if there's some really small tea lights that flicker. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to look at that today. Got to be some cheap flickering tea lights on Amazon. I wish I could remove this. If this could be removed, it'd be easy to get in here. Let's get to it from over here. If anybody can do this, I can fucking do this. So I look at this stuff and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I can do this shit. I'm really self-confident when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. I got a lot of confidence with my painting abilities. I'm like a player for my painting abilities. Players have the confidence with the ladies. I got a confidence in my painting. Been using random name generator for creating your Belgian Norwegian infantry platoons for nuts. Commanding colors. Random name generator. Interesting. I fooled around with what's it called? Captcha something. I don't remember what it's called. There's an AI thing that somebody was telling me about writing letters or something like that. I'm like, I wonder if so I could pick write me a scenario for like French resistance, and it did. It was actually really effective for that. But I really don't like AI. I think it's, and here's the reason why I hate about AI is we're getting to the point, we're probably off the point, we're already past that point already, where you're going to see pictures of stuff and it's not real. And, like you could just, and it just creates so much fuckery that I'm not concerned about me. I'm just concerned, like, if I look up something and I'm like, wrong information's being presented to you. Like I want to create show me a KV2 with, an 8-inch gun on it or something like that, and there'll be a picture of it out there, and there's going to be the point where you're not going to be able to tell if it's true or not. And yeah, I hate anything that's lies and stuff like that. So that's why I hate AI. You know. Okay, that looks pretty fucking decent. So now we're going to take this. You're not going to be able to tell what's real and what's not. That's like disturbs me. Like you're basically like you're living a fictitious life. Like I had a dream. I had a dream. I think I talked to you guys about this. I had a dream 6 months ago, or whatever. I had a dream where I was like doing an interview with Eddie Van Halen. Like he's dead, but I was able to do an interview with him, and I'm like, that's just fucked up. That's just totally fucked up. And some people are like, oh, that'd be cool. And it's not because you're learning. You're not really doing the real thing. And it reduces the value of the real thing. Yeah, you're fine continuing to use random generated name generator. That shouldn't be a problem. But you could like write a letter to somebody and like it could be the AI's words, not even your own. It's just like it's starting to turn into like an episode of Black Mirror. Wouldn't that be ironic? You have an episode, you have a whole season of Black Mirror where the plots and the dialogue is created by AI. It's basically what it is. For you people that watch Black Mirror, took me a little while to warm up to it, but this is going to be one of those I need to quit my fucking day job moments. I said I may not be the best painter in the world, but I've got a can-do attitude when it comes to this shit. All right, I don't know how many of these buildings they've sold. Okay, I don't know how many times they've sold it, but I'm gonna put my money that this is gonna be one of the best looking doors for this fucking building ever. And it's flow aid. It's flow aid and being experienced enough painting, realizing that you can't do it in one pass. You're not going to be able to like pick up a guitar, and the first time you pick up the guitar, play "Stairway to Heaven." You got to things take practice, and you got to pace yourself, and it's it just takes time. It takes time, or it's going to look like it's painted in some Chinese factory with somebody that has the eyesight of Stevie Wonder. And unfortunately, this Ivy bullshit or whatever the hell this is really is cutting into the presentation of this. Wonder how many college students submit work done by AI, use it for their initial work, and then polish and present their own. Well, one of the things I could find the most useful thing, one thing I'm probably, if people use it for stuff that they really dislike doing, maybe there's a benefit. Like, I could see using it for a resume. Not to create a resume out of nowhere, but like, here's your resume and like, enhance it or whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with like, say, writing a paper and then somehow add more stuff to it. But then look over it and like go like, no, I don't like that, or but if you're just gonna just let it do autopilot, AI, paint my house. Paint this little house. No, I want to do this. I want AI to go to work. But the scenario thing, I used it. I'm like, give me some scenarios for French resistance fighters. And he gave me like 10 of them, and they were all like legit. Like, oh, that's good. Oh, a radio thing. Oh, you got to go get these documents. Oh, you got to go save a spy. Like, what the fuck? I mean, this is good shit. I mean, this is like legitimate stuff. So, but I'm concerned about its use for like pictures and stuff. Because you could be like, let's say you're a celebrity, right? Let's say Jared is the next Taylor Swift, right? Which I don't know anything about her other than that everybody's all up about Taylor Swift or whatever. But anyways, you could like put a picture of Jared in a compromising position that never really happened, you know? And even though you could disprove it, by the time it gets disproven, it's caused so much damage. I mean, it's like Photoshop to the extreme. I don't like shit like that. I mean, there's nefarious fucks in the world. You got to make things a little bit more difficult for those nefarious fucks to get their hands on them. Let's go a little bit lighter on this and add some detail. I'm going way over the freaking top with this. But I actually find this part enjoyable. And maybe it's because I feel like I can do this better than a lot of folks, so I might as well. Well, let me stop running my mouth or I'll have a mistake. No, I'll have to correct. I don't believe in the Picasso principle. What I call the Picasso principle. Oh, you could do a job, but I choose not to. Like, I could paint really well, but it's more interesting to be a cubist and paint like I'm 3 years old and on crack. Yeah, that mentality doesn't fly with me. Do the things the best you can. If it's Jared, it probably happened. What happens with Jared stays in Jared. Oh, wait. So you're still friends with you're friends with your wife's ex-husband. Well, maybe he's friendly with you because you saved her from having to live with her anymore. Like, thank God this guy came over. He's good comrade. Now I don't have to put up with her. Jared, hell of a guy. Do vodka shots. Oh, I better stop talking about that, or I'm gonna pull out the vodka and sipping on it. So I did last night. You missed the Scotch Fest. Scotch Fest. I don't know. You guys never told me how many drams that was that I had. Probably 3 drams, right? I didn't feel a thing. Of course, it wasn't a race. All right. Let me show you how this wood looks. Let me show you my wood. Whoops. See if I can pull this off. I'm not showing it to blow smoke up my ass. I want to show you guys how fucking easy this is. You can do this too if you want to bad enough. And I'm still going to tinker with it because we still have the latches and stuff to put on there. I don't know what a gram is. How many ounces? How many ounces in a dram? Here you go. Ounces in a dram. What? A fluid dram equals 1/8 of a fluid ounce. A dram is nothing, man. Shit, I had 200 drams last night. The equivalent of 2 average-sized thimbles. Oh, dear God, no. I don't believe in drinking that little amount. That's absurd. That's like what Coke should be measured in. I don't. I do Coke all the time. What do I have? Let's see, how many shots did I have of it? Probably. I probably had 4 or 5 shots, maybe 6. I drank it over an hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours. It was good. And it didn't put me to sleep. It's like it almost like woke me up. That doesn't fly. If you're from Florida, if anyone knows what gram is. If you're from Florida, what's a dram? Everybody here, you know, I've never seen Coke, ever. Never seen Coke. Seriously, never seen it. I'm not exactly, looking out for that kind of lifestyle. I've never seen it. Marijuana's fucking everywhere. God, I hate fucking marijuana. You can do it if you want. Just, man, why do I gotta smell that freaking roadkill? And, like, I don't want to do anything that's, like, makes me lazy and hungrier. I'm hungry enough. I don't need more here. And if I'm going to do drugs, if I'm going to spend money to do drugs, I'm going to do drugs so that, I can be done with this project in, like, 3 hours. And play the game. Like, let's, like, get shit done. Not sit around and be Jabba the Hutt. Like, I got that down, man. I'm a natural. We're all naturals at that. Yeah, I've never seen it. I'm not high society that can afford that kind of shit. I mean, that stuff's uber expensive. I just run liquor and guns anyways. Like a true American. Liquor and guns, baby. pretty happy with that. But we need to put the little latches on there, and because they are metallic of some sort or another, we need to start with the black. That needs to be the base color for it. And we don't have any here. The dark brown would probably work, but let's use the quality one. A dram. Yeah, I can't have a dram of something. That's like a third of a... I probably sip a dram of it, but I didn't have just one dram of it. All right, let's paint these little latches. I'm not gonna worry about the other doors. We'll do them. We'll do them next. Like I said, everything I've ever learned about drugs, I learned from watching Narcos Mexico. I don't have those kind of friends. I don't have that kind of lifestyle. Never did it. Now liquor, I can tell you from personal experience, and not really that much. I'm getting really good. I'm getting really good at drinking and it not having an effect on me at all. And that's good. That's a valuable skill. Like you go somewhere, like you know you're going to have to drive, so just enough to it doesn't create a problem for you afterwards. I'm getting really good at that. And not feeling anything the next day, and you find out what works for you. Yeah. Yeah, the nearsightedness really helps because at this point I can like zoom in on it and be like, if I took a close-up picture of somebody standing in front of that door, they would look good. It wouldn't be like, oh, don't, that's too close. No, it'd look good. You're telling it Mitch isn't the drug lord of Central Florida? Yeah, I don't know that he's ever done that any of that shit either. He says he doesn't. I believe him. What percentage of people you think have never done drugs? I'm not talking about alcohol. I'm talking about, marijuana on up. What percentage of people do you think haven't done it? When I was growing up, well, I don't know. I mean, when I was growing up, I would say, most people didn't. But things are totally different. At least they seem to be. All you hear about is like freak things that happen and, all that sensationalist reporting. This here Should be done. Let's test that theory. Let's test that theory. Who we got? Who we got up here? Oh, this is a French house. Let's get some French folks here. Let's get some French folks. Unfortunately, their armbands are all on the wrong side. Well, they don't have to be facing out. They could be like getting ready to storm this building where some Nazi fuckers inside there. Let's get some guys in here. Let's take us a photo. Let's put the roofage on here. See what we're looking like. This is the whole purpose of doing it, of being this anal retentive. You can take some good photos. Oh, what's this? What's this bullshit they're feeding us? 8 grocery products that will disappear in August. Stop. Stop causing problems, you dickhead media. I don't care if they disappear. We got guns here. We'll take them from the people that we need them from. That's looking pretty good. And of course, all my peeps. See, this is why I like to film with the TV because then I can take pictures of it and show you guys. Because a lot of it gets lost on. You know, all my. Oh man, that's not a clear picture. I'm not a great picture taker. There we go. All my guys have. All my people have their names on the back. So that when you pull that chit, you know who it is. We've got Annette, Claude, and Guy. The guy named Guy. Okay, let's move to the other side of the complex. Well, I'm having fun doing this. This is nice. Oh, we have another hard to reach area here with a pigsty. I hope that's not a pigsty because I have a separate little pigsty building. And it doesn't really matter what it is. Of course, I'll paint the ground like it's covered in shite anyways, just to be safe. We have a door here that's fallen off its hinges. I'll use the same colors as that one over there. It makes sense. Like, oh, we want a different. We don't want a different door on this comp. This is probably the biggest fault that this thing has. It's difficult to reach this, and it probably gets scraped up in the process. But it's easy to repaint that. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got all 4 of those. We're going to paint the same, and the same as that one. And I'm probably going to use some ground here that's has a little bit different color in there, just so it stands out something. Is he from Lusignan? Guy from Lusignan? No, that's not him. I'm not sure where Lusignan is. You mean Lusignan? I try to pronounce things correctly if I can. No. I think it adds value. I think it's some people don't care, but I do. It shouldn't be difficult with French. I mean, French isn't like that weird. German's not that weird. You start talking about other alphabets and stuff like that, all bets are off. You know, Asian pronunciations of things are just like demented sometimes. I just hard to wrap your head around. When you start looking at names that are spelled Nguyen and you pronounce them wing, like wow. I'm like, yeah, that's out there. But the French stuff, I just don't know I don't know the French accents because they have accents that go both ways. French have letters that go both ways, so all right. We've painted this as the base color in this. So doing that, what I just did is the incorrect tact on that. And let's plug this back in so we can monitor the fact that we're not disconnected. Although, internet seems to be behaving. It behaved well last night. And last night, the girls were watching stuff on television using the same feed. So it's got nothing to do with, I think it's a YouTube problem. It actually has nothing to do with using bandwidth, which would be, I guess that'd be the only part I could be able to fix. But it works fairly well. When it doesn't, it's unfortunate, but it's just one of those things. I just hate that there's people out there that have really good, feed, and they're using it for stuff that's just dumb, in my opinion. Have shows on there that are just like, hey, watch me, stick my head in a lion's mouth or something like that. Just stuff that doesn't benefit anybody. Although I guess some people would be entertained by people with no shame shows, kind of thing. Let's see how we can get to this. I think the way to get to this is from this angle. What time is it? Okay. All right, and then a little bit more white. Speaking of Lusignan, the one word I had seen many times spelled and had no idea how to pronounce it, or I mispronounced it. I don't know that I've said it, but I've read books on the Crusades, and that's Outremer. I thought it was like, oh, it's Outremer. Like, I don't know what the hell it is. Why don't you just call it what it is instead of creating these fake names for stuff, I'd never heard that until I was listening to some book, and that's how they were pronounced. And I'm like, I'll be damned. That's how you say that. And let's use the same colors here. We're on our way to Outreamer. We're going to do what to your butt? Outreamer. I get thrown off by any of those books that I hear, and the pronunciation is just foully bad all the time. Really distracting. There's one book on the conquistadors, Conquest of Mexico. It's a really good book, but man, the guy has no idea how to pronounce Spanish or indigenous names. Neither one of them. It is just a shit show. Beyond the Sea, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. And now I know, you know. Now, once I heard, oh, that's how I pronounce it, I haven't pronounced it the wrong way any time, you know. It's like, I just don't know any better. I don't have a formal education in French. But yeah, this Conquistador book, it was just brutal. It made my ears bleed. By the way, how does that Russian dude pronounce his last name? Is that how I say it? Gachkevich. Because I'm not familiar with like East Europe where the syllable breaks are, you know? Or is it Gachkevich? Gachkevich just sounds like it flows too well. I figured it would be like Gachkevich. Yeah, Jeff's so funny. Like, what's the new country called? Overseas. Exactly. Over the hills and far away. Just how I said, Gachkevich. Yeah, it makes sense. I got a clue. I don't know how to speak it, but I got a clue. You know, I speak two languages and make fun of about another 10, so I got a leg up on a lot of people. And if I say it wrong, then I had this discussion, this back and forth one time. Some guy contacted me and said, what word was it? Oh, he said that when I started playing DBA, everybody called those skirmishers Pisoli. And I'm like, no, that's wrong on so many levels. So after doing it, I'm like, oh, it's got to be like Saloy. And then some guy contacted me from Greece, and said, no, the actual way to say it is this way or the other. And it ended up being something like Sealy. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to convince people an OI ending is going to end in E. Sealy. I'm like, we're just going to call it Saloy. We'll do the best. We'll do the best we can do. I mean, I mispronounced my name in English, my last name, just so you people in English can say it. So, you know, that's just par for the course. You know, I call things Sealy. Nobody's going to know what the hell I'm talking about. It'd be Sealy Vanilli, you know. You know, you want people to pronounce Greek names correctly? How about use the fucking alphabet, not just your symbols? And I like the Greek symbols, but you can't make heads or tails out of that shit, you know. I mean, that makes Latin seem like a cakewalk. That was my first surprise. I'm like, oh, I understand. I speak slash understand Spanish. Latin ought to be easy. The fuck it is. a little bit more. Comrade Gutskevich. It surprised me how far Spanish actually does help me with Portuguese, Italian, and written French. Spoken Portuguese is brutal to my ears because it's like a cock tease. Like I know what you're saying, but what are you saying? I have trouble now. Written, it's almost the same thing. Written Italian, I can make out a lot of stuff. Never got a chance to go to Italy and speak to them in Spanish and eat my way out. That's where you go to Italy. You just eat your way out. Oh, the inside of this didn't get the treatment. Oh, fudgesicle. Well, let's get on with it. What color did we use for the base of this? I think we used this dark ass brown. Raw umber. A raw caca. Bloody autocorrect. You could turn that off, you know. I got mine turned off. But then I fat finger stuff. So it's the same type of problem. You're a fat fingerer. Yep, I am. Unfortunately. It's frustrating as shit. Alright, let's come in here and add mud and caca in here. Pigs just do their business in that, don't they? That's got to smell wonderful. Mud mixed with piss and poop. I'm going to take, let's get something, let's add another thing to it. The dirt's here a little different color. They fed these pigs a lot of carrots, so their poop's going to be more like this. I don't know where I'm going with this, but we need to make the ground color. We need to add some color in here. And wish it wasn't wet, but it is what it is. Why is the ground orange in there? They feed the pigs a lot of carrots. So they spilled? Not yes and no. Lighten this up a little bit in a couple different places. And then we'll be able to spray this today. Hopefully. Yeah, this is it's a little too wet. Actually, I really don't want the colors to actually mix. Are there stores in Britain that aren't open on Sunday? And then do you always feel the need to go to them on the Sunday? It seems like that's the case. I need to go such as oh I can't. They're closed today. But they're open tomorrow? Yeah, well I'm at work. So that ain't happening. Alright, I gotta take a little pee break. I'm gonna be right back in a moment. Okay. We gotta do something about whatever the hell that is growing over there. What is that? It's a lead. It's a pencil lead. I'm like, what the hell is that? Hauser dark green. How Germanic. Oh, this is some watery ass hell. It's everybody's favorite sound. Yeah, this is a very watery color. That got a little better. I don't know why the hell a plant decided to grow there, but it grew there and nobody wanted to tear it up. I wonder if there's I wonder if there's people save the earth type folks that are like anti ripping up weeds. Oh, the weeds have every right to be there. I bet there is. I had a friend of mine who swore that his mom didn't believe in pest control. So she did not spray for cockroaches or palmetto bugs, as those gargantuan things are known here. Didn't spray for roaches. If I had a button to kill them all, I would press it multiple times. What about the animals that eat them? They'll find something else to eat. That'd be me as a Bond villain. I'm going to kill all the bugs that I don't like on the earth. Oh no, you're going to bring about a catastrophe. Whatever. Oh no. Oh dear God, no. That's like green. This one, what's this? Ripe avocado or something? Light avocado. Avocado is one of those things that I think a lot of people dislike. I'm looking forward to seeing this table when you're done. It's going to be a fantastic looking game. I think so. I've convinced you of it at this point, right? I think so, but I couldn't do it with all the salivating pictures that people put in these war game magazines. That's really the driving force behind it. Like if you guys can do that in your war game magazine in England, by God, we're going to do that here. Those guys in Australia did that Stalingrad thing for War Games Illustrated. Man, I love that. I looked at it the other day and I'm like, that's epic scale. There's a lot of stuff, but I'm like, I could start after doing buildings. I could see where they cut some corners on it. And I'm like, it doesn't look bad. It's not me knocking them, but I'm just saying, because I don't have the time to do something that big unless I was retired, you know. But I look at that and I'm like, I look at that and I don't know how I could do this. I go like, All right, we can do something like this. We just have to do one thing at a time, you know. And it wasn't until I put some buildings together that I realized what exactly it's going to take. It's going to take not being distracted and a bunch of other stuff. Well, that actually looks fucking good. Wow. Well, I would rather that little plant not be there, but by God, somebody planted it there. And it's not even a plant, it's probably just a booger on the resin. But I can't really scrape it off. I tried. And let's do a little bit of yellow. That's the thing about doing dry brush and everything. You can't just paint things one color and call it a day. You gotta add like different levels or it's gonna look. Ooh, this looks like a good yellow. Okay. What else? I'm not worried about painting the hallways or the doors in between there. That's just that is a pain in the ass for very little value. Very little value. Yeah, the big wild card for me was to knock the whole the brick situation because I'm like, okay, it's you got to have some kind of rubble and stuff. Like, what do I do? You know. Now this one's fine. It's got enough stuff on here. Now this is where I'm going to. I added the extra pieces. There's going to be the regular dirt road that leads to this, and if the girls go into town, I may actually put some of this stuff out on the. It's just gonna you're gonna have to have that color difference, but this is where this is gonna tie in from the other thing. I wish this wasn't like straight sided because it just looks kind of awkward so to speak. Donde cómo va esto así. I wish this gate would pop out more from the thing, but it is what it is. I mean, that's the color it kind of needs to be. I mean, I guess I could make it white or something, but that's kind of the color it needs to be. And that's where the panther will loom in there. And in this scenario, I mean, the only infantry you have is like, if there's like dismounted folks, dismounted infantry. That's it. I mean, if you like brew up, you got the guys have to bail out of the thing, but it's all about the victory conditions. All about having vehicles within a certain radius of the town. So you need to get the Germans out, and the Allies need to come in. I don't know exactly how it's going to play out because there's more Panthers than there are Shermans, but the Panthers are either moving or inside of a barn and need to vacate or on fire or so it's not like they're in great shape. It's like the Brits are ready to rumble, and the Germans are still trying to pick their wedge in their underwear, so to speak. So but we're not done yet because we forgot that we got some latches over there on that. But how are you going to represent the destroyed furniture? It's not going to, not going there. They cleaned it out. They had some gypsies that moved in next door and they took it all. Is that a problem in Europe? That's racist. No, gypsies aren't a race. Ha! How you like them apples? No, I'm not going to do that. It's easier to do a destroyed building and not show furniture than one that's in good shape and there has to be furniture in there. Like if you take this little cafe, which nobody has asked me what the name of this thing is, and I'm not going to tell you. Now I'm not going to tell you until it's done. The guys, apparently you guys aren't interested in it. I was all excited about coming up with my creativeness of whatever the hell this cafe was called. But this is a 3D printed cafe, but it's in good shape. Well, look at that. It's an open building. Like, you got to have something there. Like, it just looks devoid, you know? Like, you have to have some kind of a counter or something like that. This needs, like, a counter here. Some kind of a counter. Guys could be behind the counter, you know? At least have a counter. Not necessarily have a table or something like that. But if this was a destroyed cafe, it'd be easier to, you know, to see that. But I do need to paint this up before I order more, because you can see, at least I can see the lines in the 3D printing. And I wonder if it's going to be that big of a deal. If it is, then, you know, we're not going to double down and have more of this stuff. But, you know, this is asking for one of those murals to be painted on there. It's just dying. It's just dying to have some kind of, you know, aperitif. It's always some French aperitif thing, you know. Like, if you've ever had an aperitif, I'd rather, like, you know, lick an anvil than drink even one sip of an aperitif. They're horrendously bad. Yeah, it should look okay. I forget exactly who this was. I think this is from some fellow in Texas that the shipping wasn't too rapey. Like, all the printers I want to get stuff from is they're all in the UK, but their shipping is very rapey. It's like $20 minimum. I'm not going to order $200 worth of buildings. The way I can lose interest in something is have too many things. Like I have too much stuff to think about, and I'm like, fuck this. I'm gonna go play something else. You know, I'm gonna go play World of Warships or something. You know. What else? Oh, so we need to do yeah. So it's cracked here, and you can't even tell. That was a clean break, and this is heavy as all get out. Oh, now we have to take all this off because we have to tilt this joker. The tilted joker. Name for a pub. What's the craziest name for, or most ingenious name for a pub you guys have ever seen? The Troll Inn in Dundee. Did it have a cool logo? That's just like asking for a logo. That's asking for one of those trolls from the original ones have like the corn cob. It looks like a freaking corn, like a not a corn cob, a carrot-like nose, a corncob nose. Yeah, that doesn't work. No, like the carrot nose. You know what I'm talking about? The original ones. Well, I don't know if they're the original ones. I guess probably the whatever Tolkien ones are probably the original ones, but not that I read that. I don't plan on ever reading that. There's too many things that happen for real. Although at this point it's probably almost historical fantasy, but Ral Partha used to have this troll that looked like that. Had the hair on it. It looked almost like remember the hair that the Gauls used to have, and they put that lime in it, so it was like almost like gelled up hair. Looked pretty cool. Not the Games Workshop trolls, which I think looked lame. I remember when I first saw the Citadel the Games Workshop figures. I'm like, they do their orcs and goblins are in the same color flesh. That seems stupid. Because I came from however the hell the Ral Partha did it, or D&D did it. And of course, first time I heard about it, I was like 15 years old. What do the average age of people that play role playing games is? I haven't played one since I was 14 years old. Like I don't. I personally don't see the point for myself playing as an adult. Sure, there's some role playing elements that some of these games have. Like there's some role playing elements of I'd say this of Face of Battle. But an actual role playing game, I would play it with the right people, and if there was an actual board, even if it was dry erase, so you move your figures on. Because for me, it's a tactics thing. It's not a well. I want to search for traps, and I don't need to pretend to be somebody else. I used to like going to the Bull and Bush in Balcombe Hills. We have one. We have one place here in town that I would call a pub. Um, it it is a cool place. It's like a place you could like hang out, and it looks like somebody's house, and it's all done in the same script and name as Blackadder. It's literally like black. It's called and it's done in the Blackadder script and everything. And ooh, looks like I lost some more pieces, some more chips. Well, what are you gonna fucking do? I mean, I did have to move from that place. All right, so I guess we'll have to use the primer and prime up some of these chippy things. But that's the only place I've ever been in that even remotely I would call a pub. Here in town. Here in town. I've been to other places. I've been to other places. Now, the only place this is going to travel is going to travel in from my room to wherever it is that I play here in the house. So we shouldn't have any heavy traveling around here. And on this little building, there is a chip. There's two chips. Okay. And there's some that chipped up here. And other than that, this is pretty much ready to seal. All right. So what do we have? This needs to dry a little bit before we mess with that. But for the most part, this is ready to go. Ready to seal. So where do we go next? Well, I don't know that I'm ready to stop. Wait until the girls are awake. They may be awake. They're just playing Heidi. Let's take a look at what figures I have that have magnets on them that we could possibly rebase. Let's do some Americans. Because they have the modern base bottoms. The guys that do have the base bottoms. And I don't know that there's one of them over in this set. Yeah, I didn't have that many, and I used them for the resistance fighters. So, but they're on order. He's done. Flanagan. He's got a magnetic base bottom. This guy, who's that? Martin. That may be it. Yeah, I just ran out of them. I only had like 20 of them or something like that. Yeah, none of these guys are. Yeah, this is a great figure. This guy's not bad either. So first thing I'm going to do is we need to trim up these bases. Yeah, there's no Americans over here. No. 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 We cannot proceed with that. There's no point in me painting the British tank crew. I don't have magnetic bottoms for them. And Flanagan. All right, now we're going to try to scrape as much of this stuff off that we can. Actually, I might be able to dip these guys in water and it come off, but might be a good thing to try with somebody I don't like, but we're going to goop over this anyways, but it just helps to not have that kind of distraction. Llegó la hora de acostarme. Okay. Even put all the accents in the right place. Something I can't do. Excellent. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by, as always. Appreciate you coming by. This is a little tricky to do it on top of the foam that's already there. But there's no point in popping these guys off the base and putting them on another base because I don't want to set this guy on the side and pry that stuff up. I don't want the paint that we've got on here chipping. We've got to give him a flat coat. We'll do that afterwards, but he's definitely a little shiny. I can't tell what's going on here. For silent viewers. Now we're just going to do this. We're going to put a couple little rocks. We'll let this dry, and then we're probably going to be done for this morning. Let's see if I can use. No. Where's the happy rocks at? Tweezers that we're not going to be able to find without putting our glasses on. Okay, that's Flanagan. And then we got Martin over here. Martinelli. It's his Italian cousin. so this is Martin and Flanagan. And I painted those guys. I rebased them because I've got magnetic bottoms on them. And I've run out. So, okay, folks. As always, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you guys coming out and interacting with me. And we'll see you guys.